Okay, everything looks good. All right. Hello, everyone. Greetings and salutations. It's Manimus. Welcome to The Rant is Live. So, yes, this is what I've been working on for a little bit. I know I've been a little cryptic between Instagram and on Twitter about this process, but this is what I was going for. If you guys follow me on YouTube, you know I do these little videos that called The Rant is Real. Those surprisingly are actually harder to make than I initially thought that they would be. But I thought to myself, you know, what? Well, yes, Shadow, say hello to everybody. You know, it's not like we're live or nothing. But what I thought was, you know, I wanted to be really authentic when I did the rant videos. And a lot of times when I would go into a rant video, I would really sit there. You know, I would sit there, I would literally hit record, and I would just start sitting there. And I would literally come up with what I wanted to say, like right there on the spot, you know. And then, like, obviously my later videos, I would come up with, you know, the graphics and stuff that I would put in. It was all basically post production. But everything I talked about, I wanted it to be 100% authentic, 100% from me. I didn't want anything to be scripted. I didn't want anything to be, you know, seemed almost artificial or fake. So, but those videos became almost harder to come up with concepts to talk about or to discuss, because there was things I wanted to talk about, but I didn't feel like they were right to talk about, just because we've had so much stuff going on in our lives, in our world today. And, you know, and obviously I'm doing this on Twitch, and Twitch is like primarily, you know, a platform for video gamers, for streamers. But, you know, there's increase in sports broadcasting, there's been increase in talk shows, and not necessarily video games, although that is probably the primary subject matter I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to try, at least I'm not going to try to get into too much when it comes to, like, a lot of outside stuff, unless I really feel like I have to talk about it. But since this is the first episode of The Rant is Live, I kind of set like a statue of what I want to talk about. So obviously the first segment I want to do is obviously an introduction to myself. Obviously, if you know, I said my name's Manimus. My gamer tag is the Wise Manimus. I got that tag probably, I mean, it's been a long, well over 10 years ago. Like, it was actually from somebody I worked with, and he would always come to me for quotes, for things to talk about, you know, things, you know, like he always asked me for advice on things in his life, you know, whether it be personally or business. And he just referred to me as, you know, the Wise Manimus. I need your help. And when he was going off to college, he wanted me to start a Twitter account so that I could post things to it that he could listen to, or he could read, you know. And I did, and it was fun for a while, but then it just kind of stuck, because it just seemed like, you know, a lot of people, whether they would be younger than me or older than me, would come to me to just a vent, to discuss, you know, things personally, things, you know, business related, you know, depending upon what job we were doing or whatever. Like, so it just kind of stuck with me. And I you know, obviously with me being I always talk about it, like, old for my age. I mean, I'm in my 40s, but, you know, I figured ever since I was 15 years old, I've had gray hair. You know, I've been what they call salt and pepper almost my entire adult, pretty much actually all of my adult life and the majority of my teens. So it just kind of felt like the Wise Manimus just kind of stuck. And it was appropriate for, you know, this platform that I wanted to do, whether it be, you know, YouTube, Instagram, and obviously now Twitch. I've been playing video games my whole life. I was introduced, you know, I've had Atari 2600, I had a ColecoVision, I had an Atari 7800, 5200, I had a Sega Master System, NES, SNES, Sega Genesis, Sega CD, 32X, you know, pretty much every inclination of a console that was created, you know, at least in the United States, I've played games on passionately. I can remember, you know, growing up, you know, me and my cousin, who was my best friend, in our early teens, like we would you know, spend weekends at each other's house, and all we would do is we would play video games, and we would strategize about, you know, certain video games, like how could we be better at games, how could we be how could we beat this certain level. Like I can remember we had notebooks upon notebooks of just notes that we would write down because we were just so passionate about video games, to the point where I even was like super creative about, I wanted to, like, I was very, you know, passionate about creative writing. I wanted to write stories for video games. I wanted to make video games. But it never transitioned into that, obviously. I went to college for computer networking technology, computer science, got a degree in that. He went off to join the Air Force. So, like, we never got to really live that part of our dream out. But I kind of like to think that, like, I'm doing some sort of part of my dream now, playing, obviously, video games for you guys to watch on Twitch, obviously for the things I upload on YouTube, so stuff like that. So I try to be as passionate as I can about when it comes to anything video game related, which then when it comes to actually media related, when it comes to entertainment related, I try to see everything from every angle so I can be as the most objective opinions that I can possibly have, which I will be very expressive at times on this platform. I may keep it to myself, but I may also just let it out and let it have it. Twitch, me streaming on Twitch, probably was never really in the cards for me at first. I was always told I should create videos for YouTube because, like I said, you know, coming from being very creative when I was younger. But a really good friend to me, that I dearly respect and care for, he convinced me that I should come on Twitch. And about a year ago, I started. And then, believe me, the community of people that I have met through Twitch has been phenomenal. People are so passionate and people are so caring when it comes to this platform. And the communities that are built and the friendships that are built from here are just so amazing that the fact that it took me so long to actually start doing anything on Twitch, I don't know what I was missing, you know, and now that I have done it for a little while, I can't think of anything I could have done without it. So I really hope that I can continue, obviously, doing live streams on Twitch, making videos for YouTube, making just content for you guys to enjoy. So I think that's pretty much it for my introduction. Obviously, there's going to be things that I think up with as I go. Like I said, the biggest thing about this is I didn't want to make this like super scripted. I wanted this to be 100% off the top of my head, so it came off as completely as authentic as it could possibly can. So we're gonna flip screens here. We're gonna move into the next thing I want to talk about, which is the possibility of a Silent Hill 2 remake. So, Silent Hill is probably one of my favorite franchises that I've ever played. I loved the first game, really loved the second game, and just every game that came out after. Even the games that people were like, that's really not that good, or people got down on, I thoroughly enjoyed. To the point where it's like I would defend that as one of the best horror franchises for video games. You know, people they have like your Resident Evils, you have your Clock Towers, you have like most recently you have the Evil Withins and stuff like that. But Silent Hill took things a little bit in a different direction compared to some of these others, where they used more psychological, I guess horror aspects rather than just the straight up gruesome, grotesque. That's a lot of the franchises did. which, in my opinion, made it almost scarier. It's kind of that mindset of the classic horror movies, the Alfred Hitchcock movies. One of his classic horror movies is Psycho, where in black and white film you didn't see any blood. It was the concept where you imagined what was happening. Everybody knows that, the that music, that iconic music from that movie. And you saw the shadow of the knife being up in the air, and you had, the screaming in the tub, and then next thing you know, you see the actress in the tub dead. You created the scene in your head. So that's what Silent Hill almost did at times, where it left it up to you to imagine what was happening there. And then the fact that the creatures in the game were based off the perspective of the character you're playing as. So even though there was other people in the world, what you were seeing is not necessarily what they were seeing, which I never grasped onto that concept right away until much, much later on, when I realized that's actually really good. So you figure all the creatures in that game are based off of things in the character's life, whether it be, things of abuse, child abuse, sexual abuse, in the case of Silent Hill 2, where the guilt of murdering his own wife. Now, spoiler alert if you never actually played the game, but I guess I should have emphasized that first. But the reason why I bring this up, because obviously at this point everyone had heard about Silent Hills, the latest creation of the Silent Hill universe, that was going to be made by Kojima and Del Toro. Where they put out the demo on PS4, which was the PT demo, which if you beat it, obviously you got the commercial of, basically the trailer of, not commercial, but the trailer of Silent Hills, which I still to this day think to myself that even though they canceled that game, I really think they took a lot of the stuff that they were going to use in Silent Hills and they transitioned it over to Death Stranding. Now, obviously, a lot of that stuff was owned by Konami, but you have to, the same character, pretty much the same actor. They obviously they changed the background and the name and whatnot, but the same actor to do it. Del Toro was still involved with it. Kojima was like these weird ass, creatures in the video game. That, to me, Death Stranding is what Silent Hills could have possibly been. But obviously, when you play Death Stranding, it's obviously not really, you don't really see Silent Hill. You see this crazy world that Kojima created. But so then all of a sudden, Silent Hills was canceled, no Silent Hill game, and then we move on, and all of a sudden it comes up that Konami was selling the URL for Silent Hill. They were getting rid of it. So I was like, was it possible that the Silent Hill franchise was dead? And that kind of made me feel sad a bit, upset a little bit, because you figure, how is it possible that a franchise like Silent Hill, that Konami could seriously just let it go? I didn't understand that one bit, but that was the rumor. Konami was selling off, the URL, the website silenthill.com was up for sale, up for grabs. But obviously you see all this stuff on, you see on YouTube and whatnot, people create these fan art creations of, trailers of a new Silent Hill coming out on PS4 a couple years ago. Now it's PS5. You see all these commercials. And it's obviously not real because it's not from Konami directly, or it's not from Sony directly or Microsoft directly. So, even though there was rumors that Sony was trying to buy the Silent Hill rights from Konami so they can create a new game, and Konami just wasn't doing it. So they were going to let the franchise die, but they weren't going to let somebody else who obviously wanted it and could pay the money for it buy it to make the franchise live on. And in my opinion, Silent Hill 2 out of all of them, was probably the best one out of the entire franchise, in my personal opinion. Even though I love them all, I think Silent Hill 2 is probably my favorite. And then you see, I think it was like the beginning of 2019 or the end of 2018, you know, roughly around there. You had a group of people who went out and they made the enhanced edition of Silent Hill 2, which is completely free online. You just have to, obviously you have to have a copy of Silent Hill 2 for your computer, but you can download everything to, you know, to better rendering. You can do, you know, the better graphics, sounds, cutscenes, turn it into a widescreen view. You can do all this stuff for it, you know, and then you play through it, and then it's like, holy crap, this game is incredible, especially now with this HD version of it. And I started thinking to myself, you know, what did Konami really miss out on? Because it's obviously that the franchise has a following. The franchise has a backing, you know, and to this day, where so many people are in love with this enhanced edition of Silent Hill 2. You know, and the big talks about it. And then it just recently came out that somebody had discovered that the very beginning, the very opening cutscene of Silent Hill 2, where Harry Mason is looking at himself in the mirror. Well, then it comes to find out he wasn't actually looking at himself. He was looking at the player. They messed with the colors and raised the brightness up of that cutscene. And you could see his eyes weren't looking at himself. He was looking at the player until he goes up and takes his hand across his face. And then it obviously cuts to a faraway shot of him standing up from the sink in that dingy bathroom. Like, for years, that was there, and nobody knew it until somebody discovered it. Didn't change anything of the game. They just discovered it. You know, as is... You know, they had those discoveries where they found out about Silent Hills. They had where they found out that the trailer was all rendered in real time. So then you could actually walk with the hacked version of a PlayStation 4. They were actually able to walk through that opening cut, that trailer. Like the technology that this game was going to have and this franchise utilized was phenomenal. And then I started thinking to myself, Konami, why would you not want to do a remake of Silent Hill 2? I'm not saying do a remake of Silent Hill or you know, but just Silent Hill 2, because that by far is the most popular Silent Hill of all the other games. And I started thinking to myself, you know, Capcom really understood. You know, Capcom did the remake of Resident Evil 2, humongous success. Humongous success. They did the remake of Resident Evil 3, obviously not as successful as Resident Evil 2, but still, you know what, it was a good game. You know, now they're doing the remake of Resident Evil 4. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, they're still working on Resident Evil 8, you know, Resident Evil Village. So we'll see how that works out. The other thing is, yes, Shadow. Thank you, Shadow. I know you already said hello. The other thing is, you know, obviously, Final Fantasy VII. You know, Square Enix was working so long on Final Fantasy VII that when it finally came out, everyone's expectations were blown away. You can't find anybody who's giving a negative review of that game. So you can see remakes of popular franchise games is worth the time and investment if they're really good and you do it right. You know, and I'm not talking about like just doing typical enhanced versions. Yeah, Shadow, I understand. You know, and Konami's not unfamiliar with it, because you figure Metal Gear Solid. They obviously a very popular game for the PlayStation. Shadow, stop. Very, very popular game for the PlayStation. They ended up doing a remastered version for the GameCube. So Kojima was already familiar with doing that with one of his franchises. And I'm not saying it's obviously a Kojima title, Silent Hill 2. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying Konami themselves was familiar with it and saw the popularity to it. Now, obviously, I don't think the Twin Snakes game did as well as the original PlayStation game for certain. But then again, they know, like, if they put the time and investment in and did maybe a remake of Silent Hill 2, or heck, not even Silent Hill 2, how about just the original Silent Hill? Take the original PlayStation game, bring it into, you know, the 21st century, you know, with updated graphics, updated, you know, mechanics, updated everything. Keep the story that was this incredible story the same, but bring it up. Bring it up to, you know, the current format, the current, you know, graphic content. And I seriously think that game will do incredible numbers for Konami. I don't understand why they wouldn't be willing to go that route, but it's hard to say. Like, I'm not one of the people on the board that makes these decisions, but I think that it would be really good for Konami, for Silent Hill fans altogether. But that's just my opinion. Okay, and we are back. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is what I call personal talk. The reason that I wanted to do this in particular is something happened to me. I had a stream last night. Majority of my streams tend to be with a game, Dead by Daylight. And I play as both Survivor and I play as Killer. But the last night I was playing, majority of my games were played as Killer. And the game itself was going fine. You know, the stream is on my Twitch channel. If you go to my videos, the actual stream was called Quick Stream to Earn Those Brownie Points, but it was Dead by Daylight. And I was talking with people in the chat as I was playing, and I really like to interact with people in that are in my chat, so that, you know, that I feel like they're part of the game. You know, they're part of the stream. I don't want to be just this person that just goes on, points a camera in my face and doesn't talk. Like, I just play a video game and I don't talk. I really want to interact with people. But there's a lot of times where I'll have nobody on and I'll just talk. I'll play along with the game. I'll talk to the characters in the game. You know, just something to try to be a little bit entertaining. So playing through, I was playing as the Spirit, and got to the end of the match, and it was a four kill. So I got all the survivors, and I was dumbfounded by what came next. And the thing is, there's smack talk in everything. You know, there's smack talk in video games, there's smack talk in sports, and I'm under the impression, at least the opinion, smack talk is not a bad thing. You know, if you're winning, you know, you can afford to smack talk, as long as you obviously don't let it bite you in the butt at the end. But once everything is done, you know, once the final whistle blows, once the timer hits 0, once the game is over, you are civil. You know, good game, good luck next round, get them next time, you know, keep practicing, you'll get it. You are respectful. And I think that goes a much further distance with people than being a bully. And there's sore losers and there's sore winners. And in the video game atmosphere, in the world of video games, people who can't handle that, the sore winners, the sore losers, they're referred to as toxic. They're toxic gamers. And I have had my fair share of toxic gamers. But it last night, I think, really took me back because of what I saw. So what I have pulled up is, here, I'll flip it around here. So what I have pulled up here is I have the very end of my stream last night. And so this is just as I make my last kill. I'm going to play this for a little bit. And I want you to see what I saw last night. So I'm going to remove myself from the screen here. And I'm going to play this for you. So stop struggling. It's inevitable. Close the hatch. Cool, I got that one done. What? Wait, what? What? Wait a... What is happening here? All right. I want to pause it right there because I want for you guys to understand something. I was laughing because I wasn't sure what these guys were saying. So I was laughing because I didn't know if they were talking about me. I didn't know if they were talking about the other players. I wasn't sure. But then as things got on, like I didn't realize what KYS was. You know, so obviously you saw one person say KYS, you saw another person say KYS, you fucking... I'm not sure what that is. Slore, I don't know what that says. Then you got fat ass, piece of shit, you know, and then... So you can hear me laugh a little bit because I'm not sure what is going on here. And like I said, there's toxic gamers. But what came next is what really got me. What is happening here? Good luck in your games. Good night. Hey man, you have a good night. They are jerks. They are jerks. Not sure why all the salt, but have a good night. Hope your dad slips on the icy driveway and hits his head so he never breathes again. Maybe George Floyd can teach him a thing or two about... Yo, seriously? Think about that. Hope your dad slips on the icy driveway and hits his head so he never breathes again. And then another player says maybe George Floyd can teach him a thing or two about that. About never breathing again. And that's when I realized that the KYS was kill yourself. And then that's when I realized the whole thing that was happening. Kill yourself, you piece of shit, you fat ass. Hope your dad slips on the icy driveway and hits his head so he never breathes again. Maybe George Floyd can teach him a thing or two about that. This goes beyond toxic. This is like beyond anything. To tell somebody to go kill themselves. To tell them you hope that a parent dies. And to disrespect the name of George Floyd, someone who lost his life due to unspeakable means. This is not toxic. This is not funny. This is like beyond bullying, beyond just like any level of what human interaction should be or could be. And over the fact that you lost. You lost a game, a video game. You lost a video game, and this is your reaction. This is your comeback to being beat in a video game. And you have people all over this country that want to point their finger with, you know, members of government, members of organizations, of protest groups, you know, mothers groups and whatnot, that say video gamers are bad. Video games corrupt minds. And doing something like this, whether you think it's for shock value, for comical relief, what have you, it goes beyond anything that anyone could possibly think of for that kind of aspect. Now, obviously, in the rest of my, you know, there was other players that were there that saw this happen, that they didn't exit out of the game right away. They saw all this chat happening, and they reported these players, as long as I reported these players. And like I said, I have been the subject of toxic attacks before, and I don't care about toxic attacks to me. I really don't. Call me fat ass, sure. You know, whatever. Call me a piece of shit, whatever. To tell me to go kill myself. To tell me that they hope my father dies. To disrespect the name of someone who was murdered because you think it's funny. It's not funny. And the fact that I can handle it isn't the point here. The fact that you don't know who's on the other end of your message when you're typing out something as hateful as that. You don't know what that other person is going through, what is that person's mental state is. And you're going to say something as stupid as that to someone. Someone who could already be on the edge of hurting themselves. And you're telling them to go kill themselves. Is a level of crap that I am so appalled by that, like, it goes beyond the like I'm one of the people that I have hope for humanity, that people could get beyond this. And I posted this on social media last night after it happened. When I ended my stream, I posted it on social media, and somebody made a comment about typically stuff like this. It's people, you know, 12-year-olds to 15-year-olds that don't have, like, that are immature. And you know what? I really hope it's someone who's immature. You know what? It doesn't excuse them from the fact that they did this or said something like this. You know, immaturity is one thing, but, you know, and you hope that they'll grow out of this. Some of them don't. Some of these people don't grow out of it. You see it now. Protesting people's rights, and they have a problem with it because they're immature, because they don't understand the point. And you hope that people, like, that these are young kids. And I'm sorry, like this, and if it is, great. You know what? Fine. I really do hope that they grow out of it. This is not, you know, oh, I hope a kid grows out of it being immature. This is someone who is disturbed. And if it is a kid, where are the parents at that they're not paying attention to things like this? Now, obviously, they're not standing there and watching them play the game. They're not watching them put these kind of these hate messages into chat, you know, into message boards, into chat rooms, you know, in video games and whatnot. And I understand that, and I don't expect that. But you know what? If you have this kind of hateful rhetoric online with other people, I'm pretty sure that hateful rhetoric is in your real life too. Unless you're one of these freaking social bandits that, you create this personality online where you could say these horrific things, but it never comes back to bite you in your own ass because, oh, that wasn't me. That was, whatever, 1, 2, 3. You don't know who's on the other end of your message when you do something like that. You don't know where their level of mental stability is. So to say something like that over something as trivial is pathetic. It's pathetic. And I'm sorry. I would never, and maybe I have a problem with it because I would never stoop to that level. I would never go down that low. I would never get to that point where I felt the need or the necessity to tell someone to go kill themselves, to wish bodily harm on a loved one, or to disrespect somebody who just not that long ago had been murdered horrifically. It goes beyond dirtbag. It goes beyond, scum. You may not be happy with the outcome of a video game, of a sports game, of a match, of a job interview, of anything in your life. To turn it around like that is pathetic. It's pathetic. And I don't mean to bring things down like that, but it has to be said. It has to be said. Because at the end of the day, if you don't know who's on the other side of that hate speech that you posted, that you directed the message to, and they go and hurt themselves, you're responsible. You may not have pushed them physically, whatever the case may be, but you're responsible. Mental health is a health problem. It's the same as a virus. It's the same as a disease. It's the same as physical pain, a broken bone. It's the same. If it causes pain, it's a problem. And it's a problem that we need to really take a look at and realize that it is serious. Just my opinion. All right, we are back. Okay, so I've come to the end of my rant is live. So I'm going to get off my soapbox now. So I'd like to save the last portion of my episode with looking at my chat. Like, people, if you jump in the chat, leaving messages, this is the point where I would read it and we have discussions about what you want to talk about, what you want to leave messages for. So this time around, nobody left me any messages, and that's fine. And that's completely fine. I'm brand new. I'm not expecting anything necessarily right away, but I really hope that you guys join with me more often. I'm going to try to do more of these more frequently, but I got the first one out of the way, so I really want to thank everyone that stopped by and watched me for a little bit while I said my piece. The first one out of the way, hopefully the rest of them are going to get a lot easier to do. I hope I'll have more content, obviously, for you guys to talk about, to discuss about, because that's what I really want. I really want open forums. I want to have open discussions with people, and I really think this way is a good way of doing it. Like for me, and for anybody else that wants to be a part of it. So thank you, everyone. I want to give a special thanks to AF Space Pro for the follow. I really appreciate that. He followed me before, in between my last stream and obviously now. So big shout out to him. But like I said, that's going to do it for me for this time. So once again, I hope you guys join me next time. Or if you join me in one of my streams later on. I don't know what I'll be playing, but I will be playing something. So just make sure you follow me and come by anytime I'm streaming. But until then, I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.